This is our EOCT Review 2. We're going to do 4 of these. You'll get the other one back here in a while, if not first thing tomorrow. But number 1 is a problem that's off of that page. Now it's got a multiple choice to it. Okay, the one that we had Friday, I don't think had multiple choice. But you'll recognize that some of these repeat, but the reason this one repeats is because I want to make sure we understand a couple of things here that are important about what's going on. In this problem, if you remember last week, it says 12 square meters is the area, but what's the thing that makes this one difficult? Yeah, notice the width is given in centimeters. So the first thing that I have to do is either convert 12 square meters to square centimeters, or vice versa, to square centimeters. Now, I need to have a formula. So what's the formula I'm going to use? What's area equal to of a rectangle? Length times width. Okay, so I got area equals length times width. Okay, if you write 12 right there, guys, it's going to cause a problem for you because it's not 12 square centimeters. So the first thing I need to do is change that 12 square meters to centimeters. So I remember from years past that King Henry died drinking chocolate milk or whatever it was, whatever your acronym is, that's okay. And understand that this is going from meters down to centimeters. So this conversion tells me that every time I move, because this is area and it's square meters, I move the decimal 2 places. So I go from 12 to 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I got 4 more zeros in there, and it's 400 divided times length. So now I got 400 centimeters is equal times L equals, what is that, 120,000? So when I divide by 400, Anybody? Cancel out my zeros. Which is it? 303,000. 4 times 300, 3 times 3 is 600, times 2 is 1,200. So 400 times 300 is 4 times 3 is 12, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. So it works. Okay, remember this problem from last week? So the formula for circumference is pi times the diameter. The formula for area equals circle. As you might need to address that page of formulas, area equals pi r squared. Okay, now what's missing here is all this needs to be written in that box, some form of fashion, not sitting here and watch. What's missing on that formulas page is the relationship between the radius and the diameter. Okay. Last week I gave you this picture and said halfway across a circle is the radius, all the way across the circle is the diameter. So how many r's does it take to be equal to the diameter? So twice the radius is the diameter. So the first thing you have to do right here, it says what is the area of a circle with the circumference of 43? So if 43 is equal to 43.98226 is my circumference, then to find the diameter, all I have to do is take this value right here and divide it by pi. So if you take your calculator and you say, somebody with the calculator, 43.98226 divided by 3.14159 for pi. Don't find pi on your calculator and don't use 3.14. If you remember from last week, it was 14. Okay. So if my my diameter is 14, then my radius is. Okay, if my radius is 7, then the area is 49 pi. So now, like we talked last week, a great way to deal with these is to take 49 times pi and get 49 times 3.14159. Hit enter. I got 153.93 what? Are you using pi or are you using? You're not supposed to use pi, you're supposed to use.
I got it right.
Yeah, that's B. Am I good? All right, just real quick. I tried to make this very, obvious last week that this was an important point. It's a great way on an EOCT to ask on some kind of standardized test to ask the question. Give your information in one unit of measurement and your answer in another. The point is, when they do that, you got to get them both the same thing before you can finish. It's got to be both the same unit. The tension caused by a wave moving along a string. This was one of those from last week too. This one's correct now. It said T equals mv squared over L. Mass is grams, so I've got grams. L is the length in centimeters, so it's over the centimeters. And velocity is per second. Velocity would be per second squared. What is the unit of, so it's grams over centimeters, per second squared. The per is kind of like times right there. So that one's A. Same issue. The kinetic energy of an object of motion is found using the formula Ke equals 1/2 mv squared, where m is the mass, so it's mass over, let's see, so I got v squared, I got to put in Ke equals 1/2 m times 20 squared. According to your DX solid, what comes first? 1/2 of 20 or 20 squared? What's 20 squared? 400. So Ke equals 400 m. So it would be half of that. I'm sorry. Get your half.
Which would be 200.
So it would be 200 meters over second squared. Good? Half of 400 is 200. Guys, watch the video. All right, here was one of those good ones. It was one of those ones where, or no, we didn't have this one exactly. It got us where p sub 0 is the original population, and t is the time in hours. So it says a certain population of growth rate of 0.0 bacteria per hour. It gives us a formula P sub 0 is the original population. So the amount equals 200 times 2.71828.02 to the T. Okay, again, this was one of those issues I tried to get you to see last week so I could review something else. If I plug in time 0, time is that original starting point, I would have 0.02 times 0. 0.02 times 0 would give me 0. Then I would have 2.71828 to the 0 power. What is 2.71828 to the 0 power? Or, for that matter, what's any number to the 0 power? 1, not 0, it's 1. So this would be 200 times 1. In other words, 200. That's our original amount. So what you do to this problem to plug in how many you expect after 200 hours is just take the number or the letter T right there and make it 100. So with your calculator, guys, take 0.02 to the 100th right there. 0.02 to the 100th. 0.02 when you multiply it by 100, doesn't that just give you 2? So then you have 200 times 2.71828 to the second. Again, guys, depending on which calculator you guys, some of you guys will have those small calculators. If you got those small little multiplying calculators and you got to get 2.71828 to the second power, guys, you would have to do that first. Now, you can plug it in using these big calculators too, and it'll do it in order of operations. But if you have the smaller calculator, guys, you got to be careful how you do that right there, because you got to realize that 200 is done after you take 2.71828 to the second power. This is first, and then times 200. How would you do this right here without a little circumflex that's a little up here, or without a y to the x button? How would you do that right there? Nobody? Yeah, you multiply it by itself. If you multiply it by itself, that's like squaring something. And then times it by 200. Times it by 200, and it gives you, what's that say, C? Anybody? What are you doing as we go through the problem?